Hi everyone, welcome to the video on Practical 3. And so, let's talk about Practical 3. So on the Canvas course page, you'll notice that there is a new module for Practical 3 with a couple of a Word document, a couple Word documents, and then we have a Dropbox. So similar to Practical 2, we have a directions handout, and then we have a Word doc template. So let's take a look at the directions first. Let's download this so we can get a better look. Come on, Microsoft Word. There we go. All right, so as some of you may remember on the first day of class, I am an avid beer drinker. I love beer, and so I thought I'd make Practical 3 about beer. So I obtained a data set on beer ratings from beeradvocate.com with data from 2001 to 2011. And this data set actually includes ratings for over 1.5 million beers. That's right, there's over 1.5 million rows of data in this data set. It is huge. For Practical 3, you'll write up a one-way ANOVA assessing the effects of beer style on taste ratings. So more specifically, you'll assess how different groups of beer drinkers rated the taste of 3 different types of beer. So we have American adjunct lagers, and so that name sounds complicated, but this is in reference to the mass-produced beers like Budweiser, Miller, Rolling Rock, Pabst Blue Ribbon, as there's a picture here. So comparing American adjunct lagers to American IPAs, so that includes things like Sierra Nevada, Founder Centennial, Yards, which is a local brewery IPA, and American stouts. And so stouts are darker, usually very sort of malty beers, sometimes chocolate flavored or coffee flavored or bourbon flavored. And so Yard has Love Stout, and then there's the Bell's Kalamazoo Stout from Michigan, Rogue's Chocolate Stout. Again, we're assessing to see if these different groups of beer drinkers rated the taste of these 3 different types of beers differently. All right. So did they like these types of beers? Did they like one type better than the others? We'll see. So for Practical 3, given again that you don't have access to SPSS, I have actually conducted the ANOVA for you, and the output, the SPSS output, appears on page 2. So there's only one set of output this time, just to make things a little bit easier in the last few weeks of class here. So this is the output that you'll be basing your write-up on. All right. So yeah, page 2. Page 2 has the output for you. And just to note, I checked all the assumptions were met, did the data checks, everything looks fine. So I'm not including like Cook's d-values or Levine's test here, just for simplicity. Okay. So yeah. You'll write up the results in a properly formatted Word document, just like Practical 2. And so just like Practical 2, I have a Word doc template on Canvas, and that was the other thing under Exam 3 module. Here we have the template document, so we'll go ahead and open that. There we go. All right, so we have the title page as usual. Change your name to your name. And then on page 2, here's where you'll write up the one-way ANOVA, looking at the effective beer type on taste. And so to make it easier for me to grade, you should have 6 separate paragraphs in this exact order, addressing first what analysis you did and why, and don't forget the ends. Second paragraph, you should talk about the main effective beer type. And then regardless if we have a main effective beer type or not, you're going to write 3 separate paragraphs on the post hoc test, on each post hoc test. So in the first post hoc test paragraph, which will be the third paragraph of the entire write-up, so you'll talk about the adjunct, the American adjunct lager versus American IPAs. In the second post hoc paragraph, you'll talk about the adjunct versus stout. And then in the final post hoc paragraph, you'll talk about the IPA versus adjunct comparison. Right. So 3 separate paragraphs for the post hoc test. It's just going to be, if you put these in this order and you have 3 separate paragraphs, it's just going to be a lot easier for me to grade and get through. And then in the 6th and final paragraph, you'll have your conclusion, again, written accessibly, understandable to a wide audience, including your grandma or your peer. And your conclusions, remember, should reflect effect size. So don't forget your qualifiers, like a little bit, a lot, much, moderately, right? And then if your write-up is not properly structured into the 6 paragraphs, you will lose some points. And so you can see the grading rubric to see how many points you would lose. But just make sure that you have those 6 distinct paragraphs addressing, what you're supposed to in each paragraph. And then I will note you will not have a separate paragraph explicitly discussing how meaningful the differences are, like you did for practical 2. Right, so for this practical, you don't have to talk about how meaningful the differences are, but your conclusion should address effect size by using proper qualifiers. And of course, lastly, remember APA formatting. I think overall people did really well on formatting for practical 2, right? So keep that up, right? Don't lose easy points on formatting. Right. So, you have lots of resources to use here, including the lecture, PowerPoints, and your notes, the example write-ups for one-way ANOVA, the YouTube videos to help you, right? You have lots of resources at your fingertips. And as with Practical 1 and Practical 2, I recommend completing Practical 3 in stages, right? Maybe not try to do it all in one sitting. Maybe first go through and interpret the write-up, get a sense of what's going on, maybe calculate your D values, and maybe compare your interpretation, your D values with your battle buddies, right? And then write up the results paragraph by paragraph, right? If you do consult with your battle buddies, right, this is supposed to be consultation, not collaboration. You should do your own work separately and then come together to compare notes and calculations. No plagiarism, please. There is no plagiarism for Practical 2. That was fantastic. Let's continue that for Practical 3. And then the grading rubric is on page 3. If you want to see a very detailed rubric here. So, it's always a good idea. Go over the rubric. Make sure that you're not forgetting anything. So you're going to upload your Word doc, your write-up, to the Canvas Dropbox, which again, if we go back to the modules page, and the Practical 3 module, you'll notice that there is the Dropbox right there where you upload your Word document. And just like the other practicals, you will have 2 weeks to do the practical for Practical 3 here. So you'll have until Monday, April 27th by 11:59 p.m. So it's the Monday of the last week of regularly scheduled classes. Right. So remember, don't start working on P3 the night before it's due, please, seriously, right? So start early, start working on it, especially, use, Monday, Tuesday, some of Wednesday to get a head start on this, because you have nothing else to worry about until Wednesday, where we begin the video lectures for correlation and regression, right? So use that time to maybe even get this all done, just get out of the way. And if you run into problems, you have time to ask questions. So that's it for Practical 3. And if you do have questions, please reach out to me. Reach out to me. Yeah. A few of you reached out to me for Practical 2. I just felt not enough of you did, and I have a feeling that maybe some of you would have chosen the right data set, the right set of results. Maybe you had a better third paragraphs. But overall, you did really well in Practical 2. But I think if you reached out, maybe asked some of those questions that you probably had, you could have even done better. So yeah, don't hesitate to reach out. All right, that's it for this video.